Hey, good morning, boys and girls. This is Camp Counselor Ron here in the Arroyo, and today we're going to go look for evidence of habitats, biology, animal life, and human interaction. So it's going to be pretty cool. Got a lot of water running, a little riparian system running behind us. So we'll check it out. I've got my wild animal beast with me. Right there, Bachi. Bachi, say hi. And we're gonna go check out the canyon for our first day at OSS. Right off the bat, I do see evidence of erosion and runoff. Looks like we had a rainstorm. The water finds its own path and creates erosion. Here we have a little bit of human interaction in the ecosystem. Looks like not natural. This is a man-made water canal used to take the water all the way up from the watershed to the ocean. Very important not to pollute in the area because that water runs directly down to the ocean and pollutes the ocean ecosystem and the animals that live in it. Here you see some native berries. Not really sure what kind of berry it is, but animals eat these berries to survive. We got our first evidence of an animal being here. That's scat, boys and girls. Looks like from a horse. You can tell, if you look closely at it, what the horse is eating. And it looks like a lot of hay. So that, when the animals poop, that's what's left over. Also just saw some ground squirrels. You can tell they're probably the animals that eat the berries. So I'm going into the great wilds of the Arroyo. It's a little dangerous over here, but if you stay on the path, you never know what you're gonna find. This is pretty cool. You can see the squirrel over there, ground squirrel. You can see how the roots on that tree right there, looks like a California oak, are hanging right into the side of the hill, cliff. That helps the soil from being eroded. So roots have a huge purpose in nature to help soil stay in place. But nevertheless, you do see some weathering and some erosion here. Here we go. You're also seeing some of the native trees down in the region. That's a California oak, I believe. Beautiful tree. Don't have super deep roots though. And you can see some decomposition here. See, these trees have fallen down over time, and the FBI is here to, oh, is that poison oak? Might have some poison oak. I think so. I think that's poison oak right there. I'm gonna touch that. Also over there, got a lot of poison oak around here. And definitely don't want to touch it. What they say is leaves of 3, let them be. This is very cool. This is a tree that's fallen over. Looks like kind of right where our path is. And you can see the root system that's coming out of it. Looks like the roots have been either cut back or decomposed. But when the roots were really shallow, either heavy wind or rain knocked the tree right over. I see some birds in the tree over here. The birds have built their habitat probably inside that tree because it protects them. And I see a couple birds flitting around. It is springtime, so it's possible that they might be having babies. Then we also see human interaction. A can right there. Not cool. Not cool. We got some mustard. This is mustard seed plant. So here, you can eat it, but I'm not going to. And a nice meadow in front of us. Not sure why there's no plants in this meadow. It seems to be wide open. Oh, whoa, hold on. This is cool. I have discovered something very cool. We got a dead animal. It is, I'm not sure. You can It's either a skunk. It's a skunk, I can smell it. So that's a dead skunk. And you can see that it's decomposing. Right now, its teeth are there. We got some flies on it, some bugs. They're using that as a source of food. They're decomposing that animal and bringing it back into nature. Wow. Here we have a whole bunch of different types of plants competing for space. Some are very invasive. That means they aren't natural to the area, but they grow really easily and they try to come in and crowd out the natural habitat, the natural plants that live in the area. So it's best, there's a conservation group that comes and they kind of try to get rid of the invasive plants to let the natural habitat develop. But right now you can see it's springtime and there's been a lot of rain. And so a lot of the plants are growing and competing for space. Usually in the sun, they try to find the best spot where the sun is. Plenty of water and sun. These plants, not a lot of water here usually, so it is kind of a dry habitat. So once it starts heating up and there's less water, it's a chaparral. Most of these plants will die back, and only the ones that are adapted to survive in the area will survive. Here's something I wanted to point out. This is a great example of how over thousands, if not longer than that, hundreds of thousands of years, this area has been eroded. We're in a canyon, but you can see an outcropping here. Now you can actually climb up to the top of that, but that's been formed by water running through the canyon, wind, rain, and eroding all the land around it, leaving that one outcropping there. It's pretty cool. Fun to climb up. All right, here you can see a great example of erosion and weathering. The water runs down the path here along the trail. Way before this canal was built, the water would have flowed down into the canal, but then that would have eroded the sides of the bank, possibly causing flooding. But right now you can see the water runs off and creates these little stream beds where the rocks are exposed. A lot of different rocks here. Look, if you look very carefully, you can see the water dripping off of the rock formation. It's coming from up here. So it's either seeping down through the rock or it's dripping off, but you can see all this soil and the embankment has been eroded away. Look at the plants. The plants have adapted to live on the side of the rock. You don't see that very often. I'm seeing a lot of birds in this bush. I'm thinking that there's berries in here that they eat, because there's 4 or 5 birds just flitting around. I guess there's habitat for them. You can see the variety of different flora. And then we have a bridge used to cross the ravine. In the olden times they couldn't get across, so they built a bridge to pass from one side to the other. Alright, this is very cool. You don't see it all the time. I think these are definitely wildflowers. I'm not sure if they're poppies, California poppies. I think they are, but when it rains a lot, the poppies spring up just for a few weeks during the year. Sometimes you can see them on whole fields and on hillsides. Very, very unique. And here you see the sign that says horseback riding and hiking trail only. Bicycles, motor vehicles, motorcyclists. I'm not sure what this is. Violators will be prosecuted. In other words, they don't want human interaction to ruin the natural habitats of the Arroyo, but obviously that didn't happen because the sign's been graffitied and defaced. You know, I'm thinking about it. This is collection from the rain, so it's definitely an example of the water cycle. Got the precipitation, it's raining right now. Got collection. Tomorrow, it's going to be either going into the ground groundwater in the aqueducts, or not aqueducts, aquifers, or it will evaporate and go up to the sky for condensation. Over to my left, there's an area that conservation, the Arroyo Conservation Group, have tried to restore to its natural form with natural plants. You can see though that some of the other plants have invaded it again. It's super hard to keep invasive plants out, but they have tried to restore it back to its natural habitat. Okay, we made it to the casting pond. This is the Pasadena Casting Association. They have this pond in here to practice fly fishing, casting. What's really cool about it is you look inside. Oh, there's some tadpoles. You look inside this mini habitat, you can see little tadpoles swimming around. These are native to the area. I think that's a red tree frog. I'm not sure. I'll look it up. But you can see them growing, and they hatch. They stay down here, and then they probably get eaten, unfortunately. Oh, they ran away from me. I just saw a whole bunch of tadpoles. You can see it. They kind of, you can see them. Little tadpoles swimming around. Oh, here's a whole bunch over here. They're probably gonna run when I get to them, but they'll go really fast. There's a whole bunch of tadpoles, and all those are gonna turn into frogs. So if you come back in a little bit, you're not allowed to take them. If you come back in a little bit, you'll see how they develop. So I was just taking a picture of this sign. I stepped into this bush, and out popped a white-tailed, cottontail rabbit, and ran right across the road. Crazy. It was camouflaged in there. I couldn't see it. So here's a sign of the Arroyo Seco, and it goes all the way up to Hahamonga Watershed on the other side of Devil's Gate Dam. One of the really cool things about the lower Arroyo is they have an archery range here. If you come on, not now, but when things open back up, if you come on, I believe it's Saturday or Sunday, they give free lessons for you. You don't need anything, you just show up. They give you bows and arrows. Oh, there's a rabbit over there, so you have cottontail. Give you bows and arrows, you can shoot. They also have a range that different, like golf, different holes, and you get to come and shoot the arrows. You can get more information, but it's very cool down here to have a little bow and arrow range.